Hey guys, welcome back. Part two of Project P90. As you can see from the thumbnail, mistakes happen. I'm going to go over stuff that I did off cam, just a little bit of stuff, mainly because it was going to be boring. Well, second, because I'm an impatient kind of guy. So, and the reason why I'm wearing the shirt will become apparent as we talk about the stuff that was done. So let me get this set up and I will walk you through what was done. Okay, so what we are dealing with, I'm going to try and shed a little more light on the subject. I did figure out, I talked to Ted last night. I wanted to thank him very much because I knew I needed to get that reaming tool uh, seen here, but I was not sure exactly how he figured out where to put that 10 millimeter mark. And the obvious and simple answer was, well, use your calipers, but also go slow and try it a little bit at a time. So I followed both of those things because either user error or my caliper isn't the most accurate. So when I had the tape on, it was a little bit higher, but I did go slow till all five of these, I'm going to call them tuner ferrules. I know they're not ferrules, but I can't get the right word out of my mouth right now. But I did save one of them so you could see what I'm doing with it. You can probably see all of it. By the way, anybody that I mentioned is talking to or helping me, go check out their channels if you want to see people who know what they're doing. As far as mine goes, you guys are watching me learn. I'm hoping that helps some of you learn by including my mistakes and what not to do. So we'll take care of doing the reaming on one of these, and then if we look a little further up here, get you a better look. Yeah. So Ted also walked me through how to get the posts out of the body. Well, he didn't walk me through. He didn't know because he had never done it. He usually reuses the hardware, but as I'm switching from silver to black, I needed to swap those out. He pointed me in the right direction, though. I could have probably found it myself on YouTube, but it was much easier to have someone. It was much easier to have someone point me in the right direction, and I'll include the link to that in there. But basically, what it involved is taking something small that would fit inside the channel. I'm not going to drop it in there now, but something like a tiny screw, you want something with a rounded or even flat bottom, not pointy. And you drop that side in first because you don't know how soft the wood is. And basically, you just screw the post back in then. And as it pushes down on the screw, because it's not going all the way down, it starts to lift that post hole out of the body. So thank you, Ted. Worked like a charm. I got the new ones in. And that's where the problem started, and that's where the mistakes were made. Comment came up because what we had going on, I should have taken a better look at the specs for my guitar, also realizing being that it was made in China. So sometimes you end up with, just like with automobiles, where you end up with metric nuts versus the imperial sizes. So you've got to have the right tools for the right job. Well, I didn't buy the right tool for the right job. So here's the old bridge. As you can see, slides right on. No problem. I went to put the new one on and thought that I did something wrong. You can get one side or the other. Well, here's the problem. This from post to post is 81.7 millimeters. This is 82. You would not think that 0.3 millimeters would make that much difference, but it does. Could I try and work around this and do something and tap, tap, tap it? Maybe, but I'd also be risking pushing those posts out one way or the other. Not anything I want to deal with. So the easiest thing to do, we're not going to be dealing with the bridge today because a new one that is 81.7 millimeters should be arriving tomorrow. So what we'll do then, when I get to that part of it, is we'll attach the bridge and probably do the tuners. And if I'm lucky, we'll get to working on the pickup. What we're going to do today is I am going to finish reaming out this last tuner hole so you can kind of see how this works and what I used to seat the tuner quote-unquote ferrules. And I also did get myself a magnetic part holder. I do remember what parts are what. But then we'll get this done. I am going to open the truss rod cover and try and straighten out the neck a little bit. I want to polish the frets. I won't make you watch all of that, I'll be filming all of it, but I'll cut a lot of it out until we get done. The frets aren't bad, but I would like them to be nice and shiny since I've got the strings off. And then we will clean the fretboard and the body. So the reamer tool, something to do by hand. It just is all these channels. It's sharp on both sides, so it just augers away the wood. It sits, it self-centers, so you don't have to worry too much about screwing things up. And it just takes a little bit of pressure. This was a $5 purchase at Harbor Freight today. Just goes to show that you don't need expensive tools to do this kind of work. There are some guitar-specific tools that are a little pricier, but you can usually find options to make it work, with rare exception. Some of the expensive tools do make the job easier, especially if you're talking about fretwork. If you get a crowning file that, like the Music Nomad one that has a safety channel built in, it makes it a little more foolproof. But to be honest, the file that I've got will probably do for what I want to do. I'm going to straighten the neck, check the neck, but I'm probably not going to do any fretwork because I don't have all the tools I need, one of which would be a fret end file, which I've got on my Amazon wish list, and I'm going to be buying myself soon because I've got a couple other guitars that I know need fretwork. I did also get myself a hygrometer and found out why I've been getting some fret sprout. That's 33% humidity you're seeing. That's dry. It was lower. I have a humidifier going in the background to try and resolve how things are sitting here. For some reason, out on this porch versus in our living room, just enough difference that I started noticing things with my guitars. So, good to know. All right, we are getting close to that blue tape. I'm gonna knock the sawdust out over there. Is that John over at Smoke Eater? Ted, you guys will be happy to notice that I'm starting to keep my sawdust because that can come in handy. At the point that I do work on a bone nut again, I'm probably going to try and get another baggie and save the bone nut dust. Of course, I won't be traveling with that because a little packet full of white dust is going to look like something else. And I don't need to know the TSA that well. So this string ferrule, almost there. Just another couple twists and then we will get it seated. And it'll be ready for us to put on the tuners the next time. Or whatever video comes next. The reasoning behind seating these string ferrules, and again, if somebody please correct me, I just cannot pull. Are they ferrules? Am I right? So for not taking something, like the hammer and tapping, just I'm not keen on the idea of tapping on a headstock that's tilted back. It just seemed like a bad idea. So we're taking a little gentle pressure and using one of my clamps here to ratchet it down and seat it. Get it tight, get it centered so the part that's putting the force on it is down. Get it all the way down and do it as tight as it'll let us. And then we release it and it's flat. Perfect. So that part's all set. We're going to be able to install the tuners through there. I did figure out by looking at the original tuners that were there. So right and left, when you're looking at the tuners, these sit higher on one side. The higher side goes towards the end of the headstock. So that's the way I'm going to put these on. And I will probably do the filling of the holes off camera because that's not terribly important. Basically, I'm going to take, here, we'll flip it over. Basically, I'm going to take toothpicks, put them in the diagonal tuner holes, and then fill them up. I will probably get myself a furniture marker just to color the ends as close as I can to the color of the back of the headstock here. It's not really a true black, but a darker furniture marker will touch that up. Because when I put these on, so there's the high side. So for instance, this one would go over here. I'm going to put the 3 on this side, use a straight edge, drill a pilot hole, and then get them sunk so they're all parallel. and not sitting all cattywampus. Pardon the mess. I still do have limited space. I have rejiggered things, so I have more space, but it's an organized mess. I know where everything is. That's going to be another New Year's resolution. I think I need one more shelf to make sure that things go well. All right. Last time I did mention that this guitar had a little bit too much relief. There was some daylight in the middle of the neck, and when the strings are off, if I'm going to be looking at the frets, not necessarily working on them, but I am going to take that relief out so that when I put the strings on, it will probably add just a whisper of relief. But we'll check it with the strings are on, and we'll also check for fret buzz, everything else, because with replacing the bridge, it's probably going to change the action. Replacing the tuners could affect the action too. And then we'll address that nut as needed. All right. I've always liked that Epiphone logo, so I'm kind of glad it's not the one that says Les Paul. Just need to double check again with the right side. Yeah, still just a whisper. So we need to go clockwise. What I really need to do is label one of these as, I think this is probably going to be a 4mm. All right, so if I want to go clockwise, I want to go away from it. See where that gets us. Just a whisper more. See it moving. That seems pretty good. All right. Yeah, those frets are all really good, and they're not flat at all. So honestly, unless something happens in between the setup, I don't think I'm going to need to do any fret work. All right, I am going to put the truss rod cover back on so I don't lose anything. And then I think I'm going to get the fret polish out, get the Dremel out to that, and we will start polishing some frets. And we'll see. I'll have to see if I can source some black screws for this truss rod cover. That funny story about the tuners too, the Safu tuners that I got from Temu. There are 6 vintage locking tuners, meaning 12 screws. They sent me 11. So I'm having to reuse one of the screws from the old tuners, and I took a Sharpie to the top. I'm a simple man. I just want to get it done. Plus, you know what? If I have one silver screw, this guitar is so battle scarred and beat up. That's why I'm going with the P90 and the skulls, just because it's silly, and calling it punk, which I know it's not punk, but the trashy look and feel to it, kind of what I'm going for anyway. So if I have one screw that ends up being silver, so much the better. And we're going to start at the far end here, and I'm going to line up 5 frets at once and just wait for the mess to happen when those wheels start shredding themselves. And we'll get a look at how these turn out. So this is, if you watched the last episode, I was talking about the Packers game. I threw up a note that it did not go well. You know what? I don't live or die by sports. I am a Packers fan, have been my entire life, which makes me kind of immune to this because I lived through the late 70s and early 80s, which were an absolute misery show for anybody that wanted to actually cheer for a team. If you're a Packers fan, do or die. And this time, not so much. We'll see if there's always next year, so we'll see if there's any changes. Probably making a lot of noise. I will probably speed through the majority of these. I'll probably keep you guys on with, holy cats, this is just spitting everywhere. I will have major cleanup to do when we're done here. All right, there's one. I think I'm going to try and attack it from this side so it spits back at me instead of all over my workbench. I can already tell the difference though. These frets weren't that dirty, so this is just a nice little buffing. We will get, yeah, it's definitely all spitting back towards me now. All right, guys, welcome back for the last few frets. I hate to do this, but I just realized my fret shield will not fit these small frets. I thought I had 2 of these, but cannot locate it. This buffer wheel is not very sharp, and the frying fret polish isn't all that abrasive. I'm not terribly worried, but if I were, I could have taped this up as well. All right, let's turn that off, set this down. I'm going to wipe the neck off quick with you guys, and then I'm going to snap my fingers as I get rid of the Dremel and pack stuff up. Like I said, a couple seconds for you, real time for me. But I do have to say that I'm pretty happy with how shiny the frets are looking now. If anything, it took just a few years of patina off of it, so they should bend nice and smooth. And don't worry, we're going to be cleaning the fretboard as well. That'll be what we're getting to next. And then we'll clean the body and call it a night. Okay, gang, we are back. I was just doing a little housekeeping, putting some stuff away that we didn't need anymore, and cleaned house with my rechargeable vacuum cleaner. This thing is super handy. We actually got it for something else a long time ago, which it didn't work so well for. For cleaning up schmutz on my work surface, it's perfect. Plus the little canister. If I accidentally misplace a little screw or something, it'll get sucked up in there and I'll find it when I go to empty. So we're going to use a little bit of the lemon oil on the neck first. And then I'm going to use sprayway on the body and see how it looks. I do have some guitar body polish, which I can probably use as well. We're going to get pretty liberal with the lemon oil. Even though this neck doesn't look like it really needs it. 15-year-old guitar, this being a 2011. Now it's going to get a little love. Other bottle, since we have a little room now. Toothbrush, I didn't really see much in the way of finger cheese on this fretboard, so I don't think we need to scrape it. It's not gungy at all. You can see all the wood very well. And when we're done cleaning the body, I think I am going to throw a little Howard's Feed and Wax on here, just because I've really liked how it's made the other fretboards on my guitars feel. Also, we're probably going to put this pick guard back on now that I know there's nothing under there, but once we clean the body. All right, let's get that excess lemon oil off of there. I know I didn't let it sit really long, but that's fine. It doesn't have too much work to do here. This is just cleaning off any oil or residue before I throw wax on it. And also to get any of the fret polish residue off of there so I don't end up with anything weird. Being Sunday night, I don't know what all you guys do on a typical Sunday night. I don't have too much going on in the YouTube world, so I usually try and do something like this, or I will spend time playing my guitars, backing tracks, or trying to catch up on. Let's see about the sprayway now for the headstock, and then I'll switch to the other camera when we do the body. I am going to a paper towel and just kind of wrap the pickup. Not that it's staying in there, but I really don't want to get liquid in a pickup if I plan on using it again. For the headstock, I'm just going to put a little bit on the towel itself. Then we'll clean this up. Get the back of the neck too while we're at it. I think this is probably the cleanest this guitar's been in 11 years. I did just a basic wipe down of it when I finally put that nut in and strung it up and got it playing again. Sides and back. I don't know if you can see that on the camera there. That's one of the dings I was talking about. I don't know how that would have happened, but between not being played much, probably sitting in somebody's basement or closet or something, and then being shipped off to Goodwill where it was left to the tender mercies of who knows what they were doing to it. Let's just clean off the back. So let that sit. That looks nice while we're cleaning that. I know you can't see the whole thing, but you get the idea. There's a bunch of gunge where the pick guard was sitting that I kind of want to get off, stuff around where the knobs was. This is more of an indicator of the conditions it was in, because anything that was sitting where things could not be seen will collect schmutz like that. But it cleaned up pretty well, so again, this is kind of a survivor. Or not, I say survivor, I don't know what kind of conditions it was kept in. I don't think it was that bad, because you would think the neck would have been in terrible shape if it was kept where it was really dry or really humid. They must have had semi-decent climates. I'd have to look at the auction again and see where this even came from. I think it may have come from a more temperate climate versus, say, Wisconsin, where you don't like the weather. Just wait a minute. So we are, yeah, that's something that's going to need a little more elbow grease. We are currently, we had snow the other day. Hurt my back shoveling as well, because why wouldn't I? And but we're due for 40s later this week, so it's all going to go away. Yay, wasted effort. I think that might, there we go. Some of these, like this guy right here, that's a pretty deep scratch because I can hear it when I go across it. And again, that's what I'm going to call character marks because I have no interest in restoring this to a pristine looking guitar. This is kind of how I want it to be. Let's carefully flip this over and get the back while we're at it. Get a little better look at the neck. Get a little bit of the sprayway on the back. You can see, I mean, there's some marks too, which I'm hoping to get out, but a lot of this is wear and tear. But it cleans up nice. Yeah, a little wear and tear on this edge too. I can feel it. So that's almost like it got scraped on something, like it was sitting against a wall or dinged on a floor somewhere. $60. You can't complain. A little bit of elbow grease. Sorry if I'm moving the camera around on you guys. Let me put a little more elbow grease into some of the spots. It's not going to, yeah, now I can really see some more of the scratches like the one on the front. That's fine. There's not much to do about that unless I were going to refinish it, which I am not. Last step, we'll put the spray away and we'll take a little bit of whatever's left of this stuff. I'm going to have to invest in some different polish because there's not much left of this. So I poured it into here. I mean, it was a smaller bottle, so I really haven't used much of this. But, all right, and finally the towel that we set aside just for the polish because I didn't want to mix. And we'll flip it over and I'll do this to the front too. But it looks much better. I mean, the camera's not doing it justice, but you can see a reflection. Hey, folks. All right. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Missed something. Pardon the little noise, folks. Put our guitar back, get a little polish on the top, and then I think we can just finish with putting feeding wax on the neck, and we'll call it a night, gang. I think when we come back, get the bridge, the other accessories on the body, and get the tuners on. If we have time, maybe we'll start work on the pickup, but I think that's going to be its own video, because like I said, not the most gifted solderer in the world. Not that my hands are all that shaky. They're not perfect, but I just am not good, I should say, out of practice at soldering. And then we'll get everything put back together in a finale. I can't wait to hear how this pickup sounds. I mean, I've already kind of heard it because Birdman has done a couple videos with his LP Junior. Yeah, some definite finish issues there. That's looking pretty good. Let's see. Well, the accessories. Let me put this pick guard back on. Let's take a little bit of. We'll take a little bit of the sprayway on that pick guard just to make that nice and shiny. And we can clean the back since we're putting it back on the guitar anyways. Why introduce any schmutz that we can get rid of, right? All right, not bad. Leave. There we go. That is how that goes on. Get our screws and my screwdriver, and we'll put these back on. This might be another good use. If I can source some tiny black screws, that might be good. That one's actually twisting, so I might have to, if I'm going to get black screws, I think I might look into using the guitar string trick just to get these in there. For right now, it's not going anywhere, but I would like that to be a little more solid. Yeah, like that one's nice and tight. These extra screws out of here, though. Starting to look more and more like a guitar. I've been going back and forth on that pickup ring. I guess it all depends on, we'll see what needs to be done inside the body and with the pickup ring. Whether I just go out on the Zon and order a black pickup ring from Dobro or something, because I think the black pickup ring surrounding the gold going into the black pickup in the middle, I think that would look kind of cool. I mean, the cream's going to be okay, is what it is. What I've got, and it'll do for now. These are all, that's the beauty of owning these guitars, is you can circle back to them and do whatever you like to them. All right, gang, we have a pick guard back on. That's one more thing out of my way. Polish away up here, get that out of the way. Screwdriver out of the way. Toothbrush down here so I can remember to clean it off. A little feed and wax time. We'll see how this makes the neck look and feel. Whoop, a little bit much, but that's fine. Start at the end down here. Way more liberal with it than I wanted to be, but we'll clean that up. Seems to be goopier than I remember it being. It won't take long, and I'm not going to leave it on too long, just as long as I'm talking to you guys. But I want to get that in there. It smells nice too. And we got to get a clean towel out. I need a little bit more of the wax, as much as I put on that first squeeze. Not pushing down too hard, but I'm just using a little bit of elbow grease to try and work it in there. And I don't care if it gets on the sides, that's all wood too. But for right now, I just like it for the way it makes the fretboard feel. If this didn't have a painted neck, I would probably put it on there too. I've got some guitars with neck that is more bare feeling, and I think this will help them to feel less rough. Most of them are okay, but this stuff, I'm a believer. Seems to do a great job of conditioning the fretboard. That looks nice. Even though I know it's shiny because it's a little wet. All right, one more in the garbage pile, one more good. Uh, let's see. Is there anything I missed? Pickup, bridge, that's all coming tomorrow. Tuners we covered. I figured out how to put the tuners in. Oh, I showed you lubing the tuners last time. Before we get into putting them on, I'm going to grease up the other 5 tuners and make sure they're all in good shape before we mount them. All right. Oh, I also did figure out I had to find out if I had a drill bit small enough, and I do. And this is a screwdriver, yes, but I like using it for drilling for small things because less chance that I'm going to overdo it. I do have to look at that tape. I think I need to move. Oh, well, we'll retape it then when we do this. I want to make sure that it's no longer than the screws because I don't want to go through the head stuff. Any excess wax off here, and then we'll let it sit because it's not getting strung up anytime soon. We're hoping to have this all put together by the end of the week because I may have another project coming in the door. I just got to wait and see how long it's going to take to get here. And I'm looking forward to that too. If it doesn't get here in time, I've got a couple other small projects I can do. We have polished frets. We have a leveled, well, the relief was taken out of the neck. I wouldn't say leveled, but we did check the frets and they all seemed pretty good. Just a little bit on the edges. I think when I get a fret file, the next time I do a string change, those could be addressed, but they're mainly up here, which on this particular guitar, I don't get to the bass side too much, so I'm not terribly worried about it. All right, so let's do this then. I apologize again for the lighting. Let's turn that down. Hey, there's a little better. You can actually see my face. So thanks again to everybody. Thanks again, Ted, for answering the call. John over at Smoke Eaters, I almost tagged you in, but I figured out what I needed to. But I'm going to link both of your channels down below. These guys are all great. I'm going to link Tone Yeager as well because he responded in the Discord to further questions I had about the bridge. If you want to see people who know what they're doing with guitars, go check them out. Baby Boy Mulligan is another one. I'll link his channel down below too. These guys all do tech work on guitars and have many more years of doing it than I have. I have been learning from them. My channel, that's for you guys to learn from what not to do from watching me or learn along with me. And I'm hoping as the months and years go by that I start to get better at this. I'm confident that I will. Um, I tend to get better of anything through repetition, right? All right. With that being said, I hope everyone had a great weekend, though you'll be seeing this midweek. I hope you have a great rest of January, and wherever you all are, thanks for coming along for the ride, and I will catch you next time.